It's time for Geocache Talk. Whether you are at work, in the car, or wherever you are, we hope you enjoy this show about the great sport of geocaching. If you're watching live on YouTube, you can be part of the adventure tonight in the chat room and participate with others as they watch the show. If you are listening later, please give it a like and subscribe on your favorite podcasting app so that you can get all of the weekly Geocache Talk goodness.
Big thanks to the Travel Bugs for the music and our featured patrons. I should say big thanks to Travel Bugs for the music if you're listening to the audio side. If you're on the YouTube side, big thanks to Baker Six Clan for providing intro. And our featured patrons are Black Chrome, Super Nate, The Twonky, Burnt Turtles, Cazelli, Dragon and Visiting Vet Tech, Acme Wild Cachers, P0001, ADK Sarah, Eastern Girls, and our new patrons, Team Ewart, Practical Geocaching, Atreides 78723, Tick Magnet, Log Work. Actually, Tick Magnet's not new. He's just back in the fold. Thank you, Mr. Tick Magnet. Log Work, Mika Put, and TT02. If you'd like to become a patron, click on the click on the become a patron link on the front page of the Geocache Talk website, or you can head on over to patreon.com/Geocache Talk for more details. Patrons get the now famous blackout coin. Hey, you got his there. All right.
Yeah, it's not in my Jeep right now.
All right, good job. And other geocaching items during the year, as well as bonus content and invites to special events only for patrons. Support levels start at as little as Bison Tube level, which is $3 a month. Let me welcome my co-host, Jesse.
Good evening. I'm glad to be back. It seems like I haven't been on as much lately.
No.
Off the year, and I'm gone half the year so far. So.
Well, last week we had Super Bowl, which was a really good Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Congrats to the
security. Great. I don't know what else happened, but I think there was a game too, and then Shakira performed, and then there was more game. Then, I don't know. That's all I remember from it.
Shakira and J-Lo, I think they said that was the one of the highest watched halftime shows. Not saying it's the best. That's for some other show, for some other podcast. But
yeah,
I did see that. But I do say that the commercial with Bill Murray and Groundhog Day, that was perfect.
Yeah, there's some good commercials. They've kind of ruined it all, though, and it kind of falls right into what we're talking about tonight. But you can get everything online now. So
I know.
You can watch all the commercials without watching the show and everything else. So, but that's for later, of course. But but it was still fun. So
yeah. Very, very true. All right. So we have a new sponsor we want to mention tonight. Our new sponsor tonight is Cache Horizon. Cache Horizon. Cache Horizon is Daniel Flieger's travel company, and Cache Horizon is now one of the sponsors for Geocache Talk. Looking forward to working closely with them here in the future as well, and we're looking forward to providing to all the Geocache Talk listeners opportunities and to partner with them and do some great things with Cache Horizon. So we are very excited to have them on board and looking forward to that. So
yeah. Daniel Flieger, what does that guy know about geocaching? Who brought him on board?
The dude, he's the dude. He is awesome. Yeah.
We've talked to him a couple times, and we're all envious of what they've got going on. So.
Yeah. Behind the cache, asking about it. We're working on that. We're in discussions about some discounts, maybe not necessarily just for patrons, but also for listeners of the show. So stay tuned for that. That may be coming out soon. So looking forward to that. So
yeah, hopefully big stuff in the works.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, tonight's show, we're going to jump right in to show 184, and we're going to welcome back to the show Angie Westfall, aka Geojangie. Welcome back.
Hey guys. Hey everybody.
Angie, of course, part of the Geocache Talk Network, which we thank you so much for.
Thank you.
We're going to talk about some of the things that you are in charge of for Geocache Talk, for the blog, but we're all going to talk about a lot of different areas, and I think that's going to be fun. As far as news tonight, we don't really have a lot of news. I do want to mention a couple quick things, and we'll jump right in. So, Scott, don't jump on me too quick. Also, a reminder about Mingo, Texas Challenge, various upcoming megas. Please take a moment, go out there, spend a couple bucks, and that all. Think about it. Remember, it all goes to just paying for all the things that got to get paid for.
Yep.
Rentals. Most places charge you for using their facility. For everything. Mingo is Jesse and I have been doing a lot with Mingo Madness, and there's a lot of great things in the works. A lot of stuff I wish we could talk about. Can we talk about it? Can we mention it yet? I don't think we can.
We can't.
Brian would shoot us, right?
Yeah, Ryan. He's in the chat room too, so he'll know if we say anything.
Oh, darn it! What's he doing here?
He's watching.
Yeah. Tricasius wants to mention, yes, nice poster background.
Oh yeah. Thanks to Tick Magnet right there.
Hey, look, no secret North Dakota stuff going on in the show.
North Dakota, that's a really cool one. So, Jinx, spill it. No. And then Ryan comes right in there. No, he's very. You are not.
We don't want to be kicked out of the secret club, so.
But it's cool. We're doing a lot of stuff in the works. I mean, oh gosh, between Jesse and I and Ryan and the whole crew, we talk pretty much every day, and a lot of great stuff is happening. And
it's gonna be a blast. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
It is, and just very cool, and good stuff. We'll talk more about that as it gets a little bit closer.
Here's a good plan. Can't you block Ryan for 5 minutes?
Yes, I can. Ironically, yes, I can block him, but he'd shoot me later, so it wouldn't really be
right.
Good. So yeah. All right.
This ties into the show tonight too. So the other news thing is, if anybody hasn't seen Zach's Sodak Zach, his YouTube this week. And this ties in perfectly to what we're talking about tonight. But, he had that game. We talked about it a while back when it originally came out, Tangled. And it's a fun game that I am not flexible enough to do, but it looks like a lot of fun. I do have a copy of it, and we have it here at the house. Somebody posted a video on TikTok, which went viral. And he got a bunch of orders overnight. A bunch of people found out about it. And if you're not up on TikTok, it sounded like I just said something nasty about his game because it went viral. But we're going to talk about all kinds of social media tonight, but in this case, that's a good thing. So that's great. Somebody from the Geocache Talk Network has got their game out there, and they're doing good with the game. It's not a geocaching game, but you know what? He's still a geocacher and put out a game, and it's great to see that publicity getting out there for him. So
yeah, absolutely.
Well, go check out his YouTube video. He'll explain everything. I probably butchered it all, but Angie is going to explain to us what all that means tonight. So we were going to do this episode. Angie and two old dudes talk about the internet, but we decided that was too vague. So we'll keep it tied to geocaching instead. How about that?
Too old.
We'll try.
Hey, look, I don't feel bad. Look, TikTok.
Yeah.
You spelled it right, though, I think, right?
Oh,
T-I-K. Yeah, he sure did. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, no.
It took me a while.
T-I-K-T-O-K. Did you get it right?
I don't know.
It's all one word, though.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but anyway, go check out Zach's YouTube channel, and you'll get the details on that. That's a pretty big deal for him. So that's awesome.
Yeah. Very good. Yep. All right. Let's start with blogs, because blogs is probably the traditional social media. I kind of call it a social media. I guess it really isn't. It's not really social media, I guess. Or, well, is it? It kind of is.
I think it fits.
It fits.
A lot of information is shared. A lot of people have blogs nowadays.
Right.
Does it fit in the social media category if you allow people to talk back? Like if you have comments on the blog, I think that would count as social media, right?
I agree.
You can have conversations.
So we just had a new blog post. I'm going to bring that up so we can show that. And Angie can comment.
Yes.
On it.
Thanks to you, Dak.
Yeah.
She did a great job.
Yeah.
Now. Yep.
Look at that.
Very cool. Geocaching and event planning and UDAC did that, and Angie published it. Digital marketing. You're right. Seriously, it's digital marketing. Very good. Yeah. Cash the Line says blogging is social media. It's a long form of social media. That's a good way to put it. We do have, I assume everybody knows at this point, but maybe not. We do have blog posts, and Angie has been doing that for some time now. Oh, there she is. UDAC. Yeah,
Well, everyone should go read this one.
go read that one. That is a great one.
This is. I'm interested to see where this. I don't know. Do you call it a series or the geocaching or?
Well, it kind of like helps you focus maybe a little bit and share like another side of you. So UDAC wrote about event planning and how she does that in her non-geocaching life, and then how that helps her in her geocaching life. And I think it would be interesting to hear other people's hobbies outside of geocaching and how they pair that with the geocaching.
Yep. You've been
In fairness, that could go on forever because you can pretty much pair anything with geocaching.
I know.
Not that you could, but you can, right?
Yeah. Get creative.
Angie's been doing our blog post. How long do you think it's been? Did you go back and even think about how long?
I just did. I think it was about 2 years.
Okay, 2 years. So that's really great. On top of everything else she does. So, but we do appreciate that, and I think we talked about recently how you're getting submissions to those it kind of does these weird things where you won't get any and then you'll get a bunch and then you don't get any. Is it kind of one of those? It still kind of does that, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I think it kind of goes with the season too, what people are doing and all that stuff. But if you start pestering them, people really start submitting them, so that helps.
Are you?
We got 5 this month, guys. That's awesome.
5.
Oh, nice.
That's a max. So.
Wow, that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, that's neat. So
this one should generate a bunch. Geocaching and.
I think so. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I came up with a list of different ideas, and I feel like I could start bugging people if people don't submit them. Like geocaching and engineering, or art design, or hiking, or skiing, or there's a lot.
we got a comment from Periscope from Periscope.
Yep.
Why did I draw a blank there for a second? Anyway, Jason mentions, he says, greetings from WGA. I assume that's Washington Geocaching Association. It's a struggle between blogging and social media. Not all cachers use both. True. There's a lot of, it's a real mix, I think, of people who use different things. That's kind of what we're going to talk about tonight too. Is, in fact, you did, how did your surveys that you did, Angie? You did some recently last day or two, where you were asking people what they used. I thought, did you learn? What did you learn from doing those?
Well, I think generally speaking, Facebook is pretty high up there. But so like on Facebook and Twitter, Facebook won.
Okay.
But on Instagram took the cake. Like everybody on Instagram uses Instagram the most.
Right.
For the most part. And then on Facebook, I think it's a pretty good split between Facebook and Instagram, but Twitter was the least. And then on Twitter, I think the people on Twitter use Twitter, but they also use Facebook a lot.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
That is,
And then there's a bunch of comments. I thought it was interesting. Like on Facebook, I got the most comments and like discussion on the topic compared to like Twitter and Instagram. They just answer the question. They don't ever reply very often anyway.
Right. Thanks, Jason. Sorry about that. Wisconsin.
There you go.
Wisconsin Geocaching Association. Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. Yeah. So that is interesting, and then we'll get into it tonight as far as where all that kind of falls, because I think we really do have, well, you hear the traditional things of, Facebook is now for older people, and, TikTok are for high schoolers. I mean, are you seeing that there's still that trend within geocachers where you get a real, the traditional, Twitter people don't really care about what everybody else is doing and they do their own thing? Or I guess, is that something you're seeing in your comments? And
I think if we're talking generally and then just from our own experience, because it's really hard to gather information. I was trying to gather stuff, but just own experience, I feel like younger people tend to be maybe on Instagram or like TikTok or Snapchat, obviously. And
Snapchat,
then
yeah, we got to mention that one too.
older people are probably on Facebook. And Twitter, I feel like it's a pretty good mix, but I think the people who use the different platforms are also really different. You know, which one you like more, I think says a lot about yourself.
I'm sorry, Dave. Well, if it's Karen, it's okay. But Dave, you're old now, sir. Sorry, just wanted to point that out. And if he's on Facebook, so there you go.
Really old.
So here's what I would say too, though, and tell me, I may be way off, right? I know social media a lot, but some of it's professional and some of it's from a different background. I've known the different platforms for years, but I think there's really different content on the different platforms too. So not only do you see a different demographic, I think a lot of people too in geocaching, even if they're not really active on all the platforms, they've at least been on them enough to see if there's any good geocaching material. But the type and what you use them for is really different from like Facebook to Instagram and Twitter and things like that.
I agree.
Albedo, my kids quit using Facebook. They said the old people took it over. Kind of true. I mean, it used to be for college kids, when it first came out.
Well, it was only for college kids when it first came out.
Yeah, only for college kids.
But you know what? It's hard to beat, not to jump ahead, but it's hard to beat some of the group functions that are in Facebook as opposed to some of the other ones, right? So
yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think that's where geocaching, and this is something I think you even saw, Angie, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it seemed like a lot of people in the Facebook poll, they use a lot of the groups, which I think we do too. I mean, at least I do. MySpace. Yeah. I'm all over MySpace, buddy. Go check it out. A lot of my singing is still on MySpace. So
that was my first thing to get.
What's that?
That was my first social media thing. Was MySpace.
MySpace.
And Messenger. Yeah.
Oh yeah. It's still around though, right? MySpace is actually technically still out there, just nobody uses it.
Yeah.
I don't even know. I haven't looked.
I think it's still out there.
Maybe we should bring it back.
That's right.
Bring it back.
MySpace. That's where we can move.
No.
Okay, you're now in charge of MySpace. Andy.
There was a MySpace type clone for geocaching at one point in the past, and it didn't work.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, that's crazy. People mention all sorts of ones in the chat room too, but it just seems like, at least for me, and I think many geocachers, I think they're really into groups, Facebook groups.
Mm-hmm.
I don't tend to post much on just Facebook general. I tend to run out to a group and look at what people are posting in Worldwide Geocaching, or we have a patron group, and that's fairly active. Geocache Talk has a group if you want to join that. We have a page too, which is always kind of confusing. Page is public, the group though is private, so we kind of have a little bit of control, I guess, over both. But that's kind of odd. But do you think that's going to still? Do you think geocachers still are going to trend that way? You think where they keep creating groups and like North Dakota has a group, Facebook group? Okay.
I think if you want all the information and to connect with people in your area, or when you're traveling, or just for fun, I don't know how else you would do that. And I also think generally, our community is pretty small, so I don't know how you would just randomly come across these people if it wasn't for groups, maybe. You know what I mean?
Right.
Absolutely.
How else would
there is a better way to, if you're going to a new area, like you just said, if you're going to a brand new area, how else would you find the group? I mean, you could Google it, but not everybody has. A lot of people's state caching groups are only on Facebook. They don't they don't waste time with a website, so it would be almost impossible to find it any other way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're right, Sherry. We needed to. Is that? I think we neglect to put Pinterest in our notes.
I
don't
put
know.
it on there.
Did you put it? I knew it. Well,
Since
you're our
sorry.
social media manager, so I'm glad you did because I completely forgot about Pinterest. I like Pinterest. I just never get on there anymore.
I found one thing just really quick before we delve into things.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know how accurate this is, but I was looking on a lot of different websites at the top platforms, like how you would rank them. And this was as December 31st. So it would go Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, Reddit, Pinterest, Snapchat, and then Twitter. So that's like how many accounts people have, the amount of accounts on each of those platforms. But I don't know how that would compare to geocaching.
Yeah.
So, but I thought it was interesting.
I don't think that's probably terribly far off, right? I mean, if you were ranking that for geocaching, that would probably be pretty close to the same.
I think so.
I wonder how much though Twitter is kind of odd with, and I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but Twitter for geocachers is interesting, I think, because, I try to put out every week starting on typically Tuesday or Wednesday what the next show is going to be. And then as you know, you saw it all week too. As I keep trying to every week or every day, I try to put another tweet out about the upcoming show. And, I got on Angie's Instagram and grabbed some of her photos from there, geocache stuff, and used that as kind of different ones to use and trying to come at it maybe from different directions. And I used a picture of your buttons. I thought that was a cool photo. But it's really weird because it's like I've found that people will see it, and I can't tell whether. I mean, I don't think it's where they don't care. The interaction to me is a little bit odd. I don't know. Maybe you can comment on this because I have people who will like things, but we have a lot of people who just sort of they view it and they move on. And it's like I kind of almost want them to like it just so that it gets kind of because other people see what other people like, and so I don't know if that's something we can encourage people to do. Is if you see something for Geocache Talk or for your site or other people's, should we like it to kind of try to help the situation, help promote, or how do we do that? I don't know.
Definitely. I've read a lot about this too, but about a year or two ago, I started realizing, okay, so why am I not liking or commenting on people's stuff? Like if you think of something to say or you like it, even a little bit, like you're helping support that person and we're all in this together. So like say it's a competing blog or podcast. I mean, if you both like both of your things, it'll both help you instead of like thinking, this is going to sound awful, but I'm just going to be really honest. But like geocaching junkie at first, I was like, man, everybody loves all of her stuff. Maybe I won't comment because then maybe it'll help mine. But it's like, that's awful. Like, who does that? I mean, it's better to support people and make everyone feel good, and it helps with your engagement. It'll boost your scoring on when people search for geocaching stuff. And it's just, I think it's good for everybody.
Look, UDEX is jumping into the questions now.
Yes.
The difference between engagement, impressions, and replies. And now we're talking about, that really gets us into really the interactions with people and how you post and things like that. But do you want to comment on that, or?
That's a good one. We'll leave that up for a minute.
Yeah, that's good. And I think that'll help a lot of people that aren't as into the knowledge of, how social media can affect platforms and really make a difference.
So
I think those are all Twitter, right, Angie?
I think that's Instagram a lot too. I think it's all of them. When you look at the analytics, if you can look at your tweet analytics. Is that what it's called? Yeah. And then you can also look on your Instagram posts things. And so impressions is how many people have seen it. And then you want that engagement. So if anybody has one of those business accounts on Instagram, it'll tell you when your account's really been boosted. And that means you're getting good engagement. And that only lasts, I think, for the first like 12 or 24 hours on Instagram.
Oh, okay.
So if you see that within the first 24 hours that it's been posted, that's really when the likes and the comments mean a lot, because it'll really help boost you up, and then it'll help you show up on the top. You know how if you go on Instagram, you can click a hashtag and it's either the top posts or the recent posts. And you want to show up in the top post, because then everybody will see you, and that just helps you out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Views. Go ahead. I'm sorry. That's interesting. So something that we're kind of jumping around a little bit, but it made me think when you mentioned Instagram. You know, you do a lot on Instagram, and I think that would be good for people to, you know, if you would let people know. You've helped us. I know CFO, right?
Mm-hmm.
Jesse,
yeah, she's much better on Instagram than I am.
She gets on Instagram a lot, but I guess talk for a little bit, Angie, about what you think is the best way to handle or to use Instagram as a geocacher.
I think a lot of people use Instagram for their own personal use. So like you can use it as a diary or like a journal of all the adventures you've gone on. I think the Instagram community is really awesome too, though. So if you ask a question, they usually answer you, at least one person on your post.
Right.
And if I look like on my own blog, like looking at the statistics, I get the most views from Facebook and Instagram. So I think Instagram users, if you form a connection, like I feel like I know a lot of people on there that they care about what you're doing. So
that's interesting. So yeah, so
maybe probably the best bet would be we talked about analytics a little bit, and we have kind of jumped around, but that's what you do on the internet, right? When you're doing social media, you're always jumping around. You don't need long attention span. You just jump around to whatever you like. But we mentioned like the top ones, maybe if we quickly went through like what you would expect to see on the different platforms, we may all have different impressions of that, but kind of, you know, like I think you mentioned Facebook was the number one, then YouTube, and I kind of went down Instagram and from there, right? You want to just start with Facebook? What would you go to Facebook for to see? What would you expect as a geocacher to see on Facebook? We kind of mentioned the groups earlier.
Mm-hmm. I think groups, and then, you know, if you're supporting a creator of some sort, so podcasts, YouTubers, bloggers. And then I also think people have their own personal pages. I don't know how popular those are compared to other, you know, like if you were on Facebook with your own personal page versus a blog with your own personal information. But a lot of people use it for that. And then even like collecting, like there's GeoCoins and PatTag collecting groups. I mean, it's a group, but you can sell your stuff or buy new stuff, or I don't know what people do. I was on those, but I had to get off of them. It's too tempting.
Right. Oh,
well, you know, if you want to publish a list of stolen trackables, I mean, that's great for it, right?
Yeah, another great reason.
I wasn't supposed to talk about what Gary did.
Me.
Now, I think groups are the number one thing where there's value for geocaching. You know, there's groups for everything. Puzzle help groups. There's geo art groups. I mean, you can find a group on just about every aspect of geocaching that you can join. And the state groups, those are in every single one. If you're trying to meet when you get to an area, they're pretty good about that. But outside of groups, I don't know what else I have really ever used Facebook.
Well, Messenger. We use Facebook Messenger, but I think that,
yeah.
But what's weird about Messenger is I don't really think about it as being related to Facebook at all. I mean, we use Facebook Messenger quite a bit. I mean, the Geocache Talk Network has one. You know, we use it for the Mingo planning group. I mean, there's a lot of Messenger. Well, a lot of times we have people who are going to come on the show if they're on Facebook. You know, Dave and Karen are going to be on. We're going to talk about that here's, you know, at the end of the show. But if I need to send them a quick note, I won't email them. I'll just jump on Facebook Messenger and send them a quick note, and they can respond. So
Yeah.
I've found that Facebook Messenger really works well for it, but I know some people don't use it. Like they want to do text only, which is fine. I just have to remember that certain people that I know, if I send them a message on Facebook Messenger, like, why the heck won't they respond? It's like, oh yeah, they don't use it, so I got to text them. So it's one of those weird things. Cash the Line mentioned, he said that it's so much to keep track of, and it kind of can be. He commented earlier, too much to keep track of.
Mm-hmm.
I guess, would that be our overall advice tonight? Is just don't get overwhelmed. I guess just use use what you want and forget the rest.
It does have some value though, right? Like whether you're a huge fan of social media or you get overwhelmed by social media, even Facebook, we haven't moved on to the other ones yet, but even Facebook, like if you're going to go do a group caching trip, right, you're organizing 5 or 6 people and you're going to, 10 people and you're going to go do it. You're going to take a lot of photos and take notes. You can quickly put together a private group, share all your photos and videos and everything and notes and plans for the trip and maps. And there's really not an easier way to do it than a private Facebook group.
Right.
For sharing all that media and everything instantly and along your trip, assuming everybody has Facebook. But
yeah, a lot of people are getting off of, they're not using Facebook. I guess some of the younger whippersnappers are getting off of Facebook. But Janice, he mentioned about the using Messenger to get together every Sunday night. I appreciate that.
It's a creative way to use it, right? And people really get creative with the platforms. It's not necessarily how they were intended to be used, but that's what they do.
And I like to use it too if I need help on something. I have that connection base with the North Dakota geocachers. So if I seen one of them recently found a cache, I can't find it, or I just like to know a heads up of how hard it is to walk to, like with Sophia, it's easy to message. Yeah. So that's nice.
We had somebody on Facebook mentioned it's a great way to promote events. That's different. It's interesting. Group chat. Oh yeah, that's good. Yeah, great to create a group chat for road trips with other people. But especially if they're they're not. If you're just trying to plan and get some logistics together, I think that is really good.
I think Facebook is kind of that basic platform, right? It's one of the older ones. Everybody knows how to use it. There's a lot of things they can do with it, and there's a lot of people that are on it. A lot of people that are on it. So,
YouTube, Facebook. Oh yeah, phone a friend. Phone a geocache friend list. Yeah, that's good. Twitter. So we want to go. We want to go to a different one next, Jesse.
So this is one I didn't even. I think Gary put it in the notes too, but YouTube, we kind of lumped this in here, but I guess that's considered social media also. It's really a video platform, right? But there's comments and you can connect with people and
people talk to their followers and subscribers and all that.
So it's just it's a platform, but it's a big platform.
And they need our support too over there. I know I was seeing some comments. Likes and comments and subscribes all really help them out.
Yeah,
absolutely. And how does it help them out? That sounds like a dumb question, but how is it helping them out?
I don't know YouTube that well, but I think it helps. Well, I know if you have over 1,000 subscribers, you start gaining some income, right? Maybe just a couple cents here and there, but you can run ads.
Subscribers, right? More ability. And I guess it also helps their reach, right? Like they're promoted more if they have more people, so it can help them get to more people.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, they changed it a couple years back, where for a while there we had monetized a little and we're getting a few pennies, but they changed it. You had to have 1,000 subscribers. We're close, so if you want to subscribe to us,
we're 900 something, so
we're 900 something, so we're getting close. So Vince is right. 929, no money at 929. But they changed it. But I don't know. I think I asked Joshua one time about it. And I mean, a few bucks always helps, but yeah. Go ahead.
Too really quick, like if other companies, maybe this is like really thinking, but like if other companies and brands see that geocaching is popular, so if they see those posts and they see those videos that are getting lots of likes and comments and things, I'm sure in some way, I mean, they're looking at people for having partnerships or looking at HQ to form a trackable promotion or something like that,
That's good.
So the more popularity, and you want more people to know about geocaching too, so it just shows more people, businesses or individuals. I think it'll show up more in their searches. I don't know. That's what I think.
No, that's good. And, hopefully it's positive. The more positive videos we can have about you on YouTube about geocaching, the better, right? It spreads the good news about geocaching, and we can forget about those bomb scares.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's something we're going to talk about here in a little bit on YouTube or any of the video platforms as spoilers. We'll talk about that in a little bit, so stay tuned for that discussion. We'll get into that in a little bit. But
so we'll keep moving through it then, right? You want to go to the next one so we can keep?
Yeah.
Okay, how about Instagram then? What would you expect to see? If I'm a geocacher and I want to go on Instagram, what am I going to see on there?
I think there is just so many pictures of geocaches. I mean, from anything from a blurry picture of somebody throwing a geocache in front of a camera to like people really taking their time and taking a picture of themselves or with the geocache or at the location they found the geocache. There's a ton of people on there taking pictures of their geocaching outings.
Sure. Or people, I guess that's something that we just did a big one this weekend. Our little Motley Caching crew gets together 3 or 4 times a year, and it's funny. It's a bunch of guys, and we've all got our cameras out taking photos. We're almost like teenage girls, pose, get a photo, but we don't do it quite like that. But anyway,
you did.
I saw you eating that rib. You shared
too goofy
that
with
one.
that. Yeah, see, that's definitely staged, I guess. But we we do dumb things, but like there's a couple that were posted. We all try to get to a cache and then try to grab the cache before anybody else can see you do it. Step back, grab the log, put the log in front of you, and as everybody else is still looking, then you take a photo. That's the goal, is to get a photo of the log book with everybody in the background going like this, trying to find the cache. But anyway, but yeah.
You know what, Gary, I'm going to challenge you on that one then. So I want to see next time you go out if you can get a live periscope of the same thing.
Oh, that would be, yes.
It's and very embarrassing for everybody else that's in it. So
yeah, I got caught this time because usually we're always looking to see, because we're all so we get somewhere and we're looking for a cache, and now we're not only looking for the cache, we're watching everybody else to see if they're pocketing the cache, subtly, so that nobody else catches them doing it. But anyway, back to talking about Instagram.
So, you know what? That's more creative uses though. So Instagram. So what else about Instagram? That's mainly just people posting pictures. They'll do some comments too, right?
And the stories. I was gonna say you can go live and video on the stories, or you can like make a video and then post it later. Or I haven't tried what's that Instagram TV or something like that.
Okay.
I don't know how that works. I bet Cache the Line. I know the geocaching vlogger has used it a few times, but
right.
So there's live streaming on there, which I've used a few times.
Yeah, I've done that a few times. To me, it's not as easy to use as Periscope, which we'll talk about in a minute. But Jesse kind of challenged me to try to do more Instagram just to help, broaden our, yeah. And IGTV, that's it.
There you go.
Thank you. Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I would tend to though get different people who would like or comment on the Instagram, which makes sense, I guess, that it's not always the same people. So people would comment, like if I would go to a site and talk about a random cache, not tell you where it was or give a GC or anything, which we'll talk about here in a minute. But I would get different people. I tend to get the same people on Periscope, which is fine because I want to give them content as well. But I guess that's something we're seeing, or I guess you probably see that too a lot, where do you have different groups or you have not the same groups that follow you in different areas of social media, Angie?
To a degree, but I think it would be interesting to know how many people use everything, or, how many people are, like, which one, if they use all of them, which one are they interacting with?
Right.
And I know they're different people, but I do know there's a lot of people who are on everything.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And they seem to interact more on Twitter and Facebook than on Instagram, I think. I saw Geocacher Ken, he said that people like pics on Instagram.
Oh, yeah.
And they don't read the captions. I feel like, okay, I started Instagram first, so I'm probably a little bit biased because I just fell into that with my geocaching, and that's how I started to get to know people, and I didn't really know any podcasts or vloggers or bloggers or anyone for a really long time. But I feel like when people started using Instagram for geocaching, everyone would comment. Like, you would get tons of comments, and it was genuine and, fun. But I think over time, there's just so many pictures out there that either people don't have the time to comment, or they just see the same thing, or they're just too busy, or I don't know what it is. But
yeah,
right.
Well, just like anything else, it gets saturated, right? Starts off, it's
it makes sense.
New, and tons of people get on there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we mentioned earlier TikTok. Not everybody may know exactly what TikTok is. Can you give us a basic rundown of it?
Very basic. I think people just make funny videos and post them. Maybe like 10 seconds. They're short usually. The ones that I've seen.
Limited time videos.
Limited time. I've got one I can show you guys. Let's do that real quick if you don't mind.
Who is that guy?
Who's that guy?
That's some cool shades.
Oh, did I do this right? Hang on a minute. Let me make sure I didn't.
Yeah, be careful what you put on there.
No, I've watched it. I'm good. I didn't show the audio part. Sorry. And this will definitely get into our conversation.
Okay.
I think. All right. Here we go.
Hey friends, how you doing? Want to see an evil geocache? Typical guardrail, checking typical things. Could be fake rock, could be on the guardrail, could be in here. That's too easy. No, look over here. Wait for it. Oh, there's this little cloth here. Maybe I should move the cloth. Oh my gosh. That was evil. Well done. Hey friends, how you doing?
So if you'll notice, it was just kind of short, sweet.
So super fast, short videos.
Yeah. And it's something that is a lot of people are using. I don't know.
A lot of younger folks.
Yeah.
Those are really young folks.
Right. Yeah.
So Cacheline says trending challenges and themes are huge. So I have actually heard that. So I have my oldest daughter she's college age, and they do a lot with TikTok. But it seems like it's somebody will post some kind of challenge, like some kind of dance or some kind of song.
Oh yeah, a lot of dancing, and singing.
There's a chair one.
I wonder if that'll catch on with like any kind of geocaching challenges.
Something you could start.
Yeah, probably not starting a new TikTok parade, but other people could. We have some very creative people out there. Nobody wants to see me dancing anyway close to geocaching, so we would lose everybody.
Yeah, Sherry's comment about high school. One of our MCC cohorts said his young daughter, she's convinced that she's going to have a career in social media somehow, professional social media person, because she has a bunch of followers on TikTok. And I'm like, I don't know. I mean, maybe she can, monetize her beautiful singing or something. I don't know. I mean,
I don't know.
there's a lot of people out there that are. I mean, didn't Perez Hilton kind of become famous just by posting videos of making comments? I mean, it's.
You must be speaking to Angie and not me. 'Cause I don't know what you're talking about at all.
People can get famous for anything, it seems like.
So,
I mean,
how does TikTok then apply to geocaching? Have you seen much, or is it just silly, dancy, goofy stuff? Or is there any geocaching stuff on there too?
I think that's probably
See, some people are.
purely entertainment, I would say, from what I can see. I hope it's used positively. That's all. I don't know. I feel like my husband teaches, and I know he's in one TikTok, and all it says is, "Give me that," and he's reaching for the phone because the kid's using his phone. And I guess it got a lot of views, but John was mad. John was mad about it, so that's all.
Pretty funny though.
Yeah.
There are some big TikTok geocaching users.
Oh, really? Oh, interesting.
I'm kind of curious now. I'm gonna have to go look and check it out.
You'll have to post something, Cash the Line. Maybe come up with a list, or if you're on there.
Yeah.
Show us.
Where's he gonna post it though?
In
Facebook?
geocache time? Yeah. The Facebook
It
page?
gets confusing,
I think that would be easiest.
Now we are live right now on Twitch, because we have two or 300,000 people that watch on Twitch. So I think that's a big deal. Oh, maybe we won't have that many.
You said 2, right?
I was gonna say, wow.
If we get to 2, we had one recently.
Which shows that not every platform fits for everything, right?
Yeah, someone has to start somewhere, though.
Yeah.
I know my brothers use Twitch.
And it's more for like gaming, right?
Or for they're trying to branch out, I think, but yeah, gamers can make a lot of money. In fact, there's some people who game. People watch them play games.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
spend hours, right?
Yeah, and I think it's Twitch that if you can you subscribe to Twitch and be like a member, and then you can choose each month where to give them where that money go. Like you have like a set up like $5 allowance or something. So you subscribe, you're a member, you get some perks, and then you have like a reward that you can send to somebody.
We're not quite to millions yet, Sherry. We're getting there.
Millions, yeah.
We're on our way.
We're
They have built into Twitch sort of a Patreon type thing where you can give people money. People make, I should qualify. There's a small portion of people who make a lot of money on Twitch playing games, and people give them money to watch them play games. And
it hasn't become a huge geocaching platform yet. However, it's out there and people like to communicate. So who knows, right?
Go watch it on Twitch.
So you have LinkedIn listed in your list earlier, but I don't see a lot of overlap between that and geocaching either.
I know when I first started my blog, I shared a few links, and I had some people that I don't think I'm connected to any other way see it, and they commented on it. And maybe, if you're trying to land a job and they see that you shared something geocaching related, maybe you'll connect somehow and you'll get the job.
Geocacher, right?
What?
Who would want to hire a geocacher? If you're hiring somebody and they're a geocacher, they got to be much better than the average person.
I don't know.
Exactly.
Very well rounded.
Of course, you know what they're going to do on their lunch break. So,
Yep.
Okay, so you mentioned a couple other ones. Reddit. Now we know there's tons of geocaching stuff on Reddit.
I've not done too much on Reddit. I don't understand it. I've tried a few times. I don't know why. Like people post something and then they just comment on it.
Yeah.
A lot of the time.
It's basically a discussion group, right? I mean, but it's social. I mean, you absolutely can comment back and forth. It's not like just posting an article. You can comment back and forth, and there's subreddits for geocaching and all types of geocaching I've seen on there before, but there's a lot of people on Reddit. So when you post something, you may get 1,000 answers. You may not like all the answers, but you like all the answers.
Yeah, I feel like Reddit kind of scares me, I guess.
Yeah.
That community, I don't know. I've just heard mean things.
Since we're talking about forums, should we mention the geocaching forum?
Probably. That's probably one of the big ones, right?
Yeah.
Do you guys use it?
Is it?
No.
You don't go on there? Did you used to, like when you first started?
It's like the Reddit of geocaching.
You know, I went on there originally, and there's some really good information on there.
There is.
And I think they've done a really good job in the last several years of policing that a little better. But when I first went on it, when I first started geocaching, you would have thought, I don't know, they were not as friendly. Let's say there were some unfriendly people on there. But, you know, I have checked back on it every once in a while. I'll search something, and I don't think that's the same as it used to be. So I really should give it another chance.
Yeah.
People were brutal on there.
Yeah, it was pretty rough for a while.
I mean, they were just downright mean to everybody. And that's why, like you said, Jesse, both of us just kind of gave up and moved on because just don't need that kind of negativity. I've
read a few geocaching books, and one of them, I know she stopped geocaching for like years because of what someone said to her on a forum. Oh, she like wrote it in her, she had a blog. I don't know. I was probably being kind of weird, stalkery, but she posted it in her book, and then I was like looking up stuff. But that's so mean. I don't know why people gotta be mean.
Like, some people are just mean. So, and you know, that's if you're one of those that is extremely impressionable or doesn't ever want anything bad to say, social media, pick the right platform, right? I would definitely say don't open yourself up. But but to continue moving on, Pinterest. If I was a geocacher, what would I find on Pinterest?
Pinterest is great for sharing ideas for creative caching. I think caches. I think IB Geocaching, he has quite the profile on Pinterest. Right. I used to use it a lot more, but not as often. I think like you could Google like swag items. Isn't it Cache Canada's in there? And he's looking, what is that hashtag he's doing? No, that was Neil Moore. Sorry. The Make Geocache swag great again or something? Yeah. Right. If you go on Pinterest, you could come up with great ideas for what kind of personal swag you could come up with. DIYs.
Yeah, I've definitely been on Pinterest before to type in creative caches, and there's all kinds of stuff on it. Like if you type in gadget cache or creative cache on Pinterest, there's like pages and pages of information. So
I love Pinterest for puzzle caches because you can find a lot. In fact, I've created a pin to a board. Is that what I'm doing? Or did
with the?
Oh yeah, how about that? That's me, boy. I'm into it now. I haven't been on there in gosh knows how long now. I need to get back on there because what I did was I kind of gathered up as you do in Pinterest is I gathered up all these puzzle cache ideas or like languages that I'd never heard of, and I thought, I could use this obscure language as part of a puzzle cache. So that's why I was doing those.
Yeah. There's a lot of information on there. Okay. So, Snapchat, everybody's heard of Snapchat. You know, it's the messaging app.
Do you guys have Snapchat?
No.
Well,
my phone does this neat thing called text. I think it works the same. So,
but you don't share your face. You can like share a funny face,
videos, and pictures and text. I'm pretty sure mine has that on it.
There's face. Is that FaceTime? No, that's something different. Just kidding.
No. So, what would the Snapchat use be for geocaching? Is there one?
Kids?
To me personally, I feel like it's a little more personal. I don't know why. I just feel like it is. But you could use it while you go out geocaching and make video snaps and stuff. But isn't it linked to your cell phone number? So,
that's not good.
Or not? Like,
I hope that was rhetorical.
What?
I said I hope that was a rhetorical question because I don't think Gary had an answer that one.
True. If you don't have it, but I just feel like I don't know how you would have a Snapchat account just for geocaching. I like to separate my personal and my geocaching, I guess.
I mean, I think it's more of a communication platform and there's not, because it disappears, right? I mean, the design of the platform is that you can send a message and it disappears after a short period of time. So, I don't know a lot, but you know what? Maybe somebody out there has found a way to use geocaching, tied into it, and I'd love to hear about it.
I know Eat, Sleep, Cash, Repeat had it for a while. She was promoting hers for geocaching.
Then she needs to test what
I don't know if she's still doing it, though.
Well, then maybe it doesn't work. I don't know. But
I don't know.
okay, what about, obviously, Twitter? We've talked about Twitter many times.
Mhm.
And I know specifically the US Geocaching Hour and the UK Geocaching Hour, they found a really creative way to do that. But Twitter / Periscope, there's a lot of geocaching on there, right? So what would I expect to find as a geocacher if I was going to do that?
For Twitter and Periscope?
Yeah. I mean, Periscope
Twitter.
is live videos. We've seen a lot of those, right? But what about the Twitter side? Besides like US Geocaching Hour, what else could I find on there?
I think you can find a lot of posts, like picture posts, like similar to Instagram. I think people use it. They post Instagram and Twitter, and then also just, I think Twitter is really good for sharing links, like links to videos or blogs or podcasts.
Okay.
Those are, and then I think the tweet chats are cool.
Is there any other ones that we haven't mentioned? I think that's the main platforms, right? That was all the ones I think that you mentioned on your list.
I think so.
Look at that family. Oh, are they cute? Oh,
Aww.
There they are.
The cutest.
Look at those little ones. What's interesting, we didn't really is do most people use Twitter? Well, in the geocaching community, in the non-geocaching community, I know people who that's the go-to for their news is Twitter, which is, amazing. I don't really, but go ahead.
No, I agree. I feel like, I'll be honest, like I like to separate geocaching from pretty much everything else. So like if you're posting a lot about politics or something, sorry guys,
Yeah,
probably not gonna last following you. Like I don't know. I guess a lot of people post political stuff on Twitter compared to other stuff.
Oh yeah, I can't tell how many people I block.
Yeah.
My most of my time on Twitter is just blocking people. I think that maybe I spend too much time.
I block a lot of people on Instagram. There's a lot of spam accounts. I don't like them following me.
Right. I don't blame you.
And there was a while there on Instagram where there was a lot of like robot accounts. Not to like get off topic, but they were like stealing pictures and people are getting really upset. But yeah, you can block people. That's a good thing about social media.
And that gets into something that we won't be able to touch on this show. But I mean, you do have to keep in mind that we're internet's been around for a long time. Social media's been around for a while now, but some of the laws haven't caught up. So you got to kind of be careful what you're sharing. We're going to kind of get into that topic in a minute, but once you kind of put stuff out there, it's kind of hard to get it back. Mm-hmm. So, like you said, people were taking photos and sharing them as their own and doing something like that. But I think you got to kind of know that once it's just like a trackable, right? Once you put it out there, good things could happen, or somebody could just take it out. Somebody can post it as their own, keep it as their own, and I think that's just part of what you kind of have to know when you're putting stuff out there like that.
It'll be in the show notes.
Yep. So we'll be in the show notes. So we'll, kind of what we talked about. This is going to be in the show notes. I know we're kind of jumping around and going to everything, and we want to still hit some kind of geocaching etiquette on social media before we wrap up. But there's a lot out there, and geocaching is pretty much in every part of it, right?
Yeah. One other thing, Twitter, I saw that in the comments, kind of reminded me. Twitter is great for when HQ is down, when geocaching is down. That's where they post all their updates. So if the app isn't working for you, go to Twitter right away, and usually they'll tell you what's going on.
Oh,
and it's like that for a lot of platforms. Like when Instagram's not working, I always go to Twitter, and they are posting about why Instagram's down or when it should be back up.
Oh, cool.
So
that's good. Yeah. I mean, because if it's down, how else?
Good to know.
Yeah, you won't know.
There's also the last one we won't talk about tonight, but there's a new one that came out. I don't know if y'all saw this on a Super Bowl commercial. Quibi. Quibi. So I don't know if geocachers are going to jump in and do some Quibi.
What is Quibi?
Quibi is 10 minutes or less.
Like a movie or a video?
Yeah, so it's like extended instead of doing instead of a YouTube video where you could go, for quite a while. Obviously, we did 8 hours. You can go 8 hours on YouTube, or you could or instead of the ones that are really really short, you could do 10 minutes or less. So they're kind of like mini shows, I guess you could create. But so keep an eye out for Quibi. Maybe some geocacher will start doing. I think we've kind of touched on this a little bit. Quibi, was mentioned on the. They spent a lot of money. Obviously, they spent a ton of money for a Super Bowl commercial. Quibi, yeah.
10-minute shows. There could definitely be a use for that for geocaching.
Yeah. Now, we have talked before, though, that most vloggers with a V, they tend to stay, their sweet spot, I guess, is about 6 minutes for a video. And that's kind of what people, which is amazing. We don't have the attention span to go past 6 minutes. But, I don't know if 10 minutes maybe, I don't know.
But, there'll always be new platforms that show up, and some of the old ones will stay around, but we've seen many come and go, right? There's been other live video platforms, and Vine was around.
Vine.
What was it? Meerkat was one for a while. And
Meerkat, yep.
That was the predecessor to Periscope. And there's been a bunch of those. They'll come and go, but I mean, really, privacy is an issue that was just mentioned in the chat room. And once you put things out there, they're out there. But specifically as it relates to geocaching, there's probably some rules that we should follow. I mean, I say just show everything. You should have got there first. Tough luck, right?
Tough luck.
Yeah, sorry, you should have beat me there. No,
some people get
through.
I feel like for first to finds or like really special things or like something that's related to the holiday or season or whatever, I like to wait a little bit longer to post, generally speaking. I try to. And then, but I feel like generally just don't be on social media if you don't want to see spoilers. That's what you're saying. Is that where you're going? I don't know if that's where you're going.
On the same page. She just said it. She said tough stuff.
That's a good point.
I'll be there.
I don't like either one of y'all now. I'm just kidding.
No spoilers.
Well, poor Adventures with Dan. You're familiar with old Dan, great guy. He tells the story about where he almost got into. I mean, not that he would, but somebody was like ready to fight him one time because he had done a video and they freaked out because I guess he'd spoiled it. Yeah, I mean, cache lines spoilers are a touchy thing, man. They are.
Started losing people when we brought that up.
Yeah.
Here's what I would say about that. I'm kind of on Angie's side on this one. First of all, don't get so mad about a game that you want to fight somebody. So get over yourself for that.
It's just a game.
Yeah. Second of all, you are putting those things out in public. So if you don't want them to be pictured, or videoed or whatever else, you really have to know that it's in the public. Now, is it nice to do and spoil somebody's puzzle? No, it's not. But it's also in the public. So you kind of should not do spoilers. Having said that, you really can't stop anybody, right? I mean, what are you going to do? So there's nothing you can do.
Right, but
etiquette. Video that the tree that's in the public park, that'll go somewhere.
Yeah, for like gadget caches and those type, where you need to solve a puzzle or you need to like put some work into it. I'm not gonna show people how to do that. That's just me. It's like I had to work a little bit extra for that one, but like just taking a picture of it, even like not showing any answers or anything, or not showing the GC code. It's like just don't be on social media. Or don't place hides. I don't know how you're getting it around that.
Yeah, because like you said, for Instagram, I could see where you just post a picture of it because it's anybody can view it, for the most part, unless it's a hidden cache that nobody knew was there, kind of like what Josh did with TikTok. But he didn't post. He didn't post a GC. He didn't tell where he was. Whenever I've done a video or anything like that, Periscope, I don't give you GC codes. I don't tell you exactly where I'm at. I mean, you can sort of assume I'm probably in the DFW area because, unless unless you know that I'm not for whatever reason, if I'm at an event, but I kind of see a little bit of the point, but I kind of don't. But I think all of us should be, how to put it, I kind of go a little bit against what Jesse's saying, the fact that I think it's better to err maybe on the side of not spoiling, maybe the spoiling the information that would spoil somebody's fun at a particular cache.
Right.
I guess maybe they'll put it. Sometimes what Joshua will do is he'll hide the code so that you don't know the code if you were to go to that cache.
Mm-hmm.
Which I appreciate that. Although, he's in Germany. If I'm keeping track of a code that he did in Hanover, then there's probably something wrong with me, or that I'm that concerned.
I agree with that, except so it's nice to not spoil somebody's stuff, but at the same time, you cannot get that crazy about it because it's not a private game. There's very few that are private. I mean, if you showed somebody, you said GC 1, 2, 3, 4, and it's a mystery, and here's where it is. It's at 1, 2, 3 Main Street. Now that's just mean, right?
Right.
You can do that, but if you're searching through social media and everything else, you're subject to spoilers, and that stuff is in the public. There's, you shouldn't intentionally try to spoil people's caches, and I'm sure I'm not even going to look for it because I don't want to see it, but I'm sure there's channels out there where people intentionally spoil geocaches. Yeah, that's mean. But at the same time, don't get so crazy, that you can't be. You're in public. It's in public. What are you going to do about it?
Mm-hmm.
That's like people getting mad about somebody taking their picture in public. Guess what? You're outside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the paparazzi, right? They follow people around, take pictures of celebrities and stuff. Well, it is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't get that excited about it.
I like to add a comment. Somebody put this from their question from Hoffer15 on Instagram.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I never thought about this. So this is a good question, Angie, that you got put in the show notes. Do you and others on Geocache Talk and social media find it awkward when people meet you and they truly feel like you're good friends and you've never met them? Because we read, listen, follow, we feel like we have always known you guys.
I think it's awesome. So, we've talked about this many times, and I don't do the same thing we've always said, but we get to communicate with a lot of people, luckily, because of the platform we have here in the geocaching world, right? Like, luckily, that's still a small group, right? It's not like you're being a celebrity, which would be the worst thing ever.
Right.
You can't go outside. You can't people are taking pictures of your baby and stuff. That would be cool. But we're in a smaller group, and we've talked to people just like this chat room alone. We get to talk to these people, and then we show up at a mega, and we get to meet people that we've only chatted with online. For me, every time, that is the coolest part of a mega.
Yes.
Every single time. Now, there's the opportunity that somebody could be weird that you've been talking to online. All of a sudden, they show up and, I don't know, kidnap you or something. But that's not happening, right? So,
Worst case scenario.
Worst case scenario.
It's incredible. I have it in the trunk of my car. Look real close. But you know what? Cachers are cool, and they're friendly, and they have that spirit of adventure. And when you finally get to meet them, I think it's really neat. So
I agree.
I take that approach to it. But I guess there could be a weird serial killer out there or something. I don't know. But
well, I'm sure there's plenty of those.
We just gave an idea. Now there's going to be one.
No, I agree. From my perspective, I'm kind of the same way, Jesse, is that we don't, in the regular life, nobody's going to come up and say, hey, I saw you on Geocache Talk. At least we haven't had one of those yet. But if we're in an event or we're somewhere where geocachers are, I really like it. And I think it's a neat way. And again, I always look at it as it's not me. It's more my opportunity. And this, I've always said this about why I created the podcast and everything is to really give the platform to everyone else. I'm just here to kind of facilitate, I want people to go follow what Angie's doing and read her blogs and all that, so of course she's part of the network, so it's a little bit different on the fact that she's part of the team that's doing the same thing. She is providing other people like UDAC. UDAC has an opportunity that we're trying to provide, and Angie's providing through the blog for UDAC to provide information. So I guess in a way, we don't see it as, hey, come make sure you come by and see me because, I'm a podcaster, check it out. I never think, I never see it that way because it's not, I don't think we see ourselves that way. I guess Jesse and I don't, but.
No, you know what though? I've met people that have seen, the podcast or other stuff that I didn't expect to meet. But I meet more people from wearing a geocaching shirt somewhere.
Yeah.
And they're like, "Oh, are you a geocacher?" Now, because I'm a smart aleck, I like to say, "No, what is geocaching?" No, I just got this shirt for free. No. But have you ever had one of those experiences and it not be great? I think those are always really good experiences. Like, I'm a geocacher, and you just instantly have stories to share and stuff like that. So, if you were in some communities and podcasting and social media about some things like politics or whatever else, I'd be afraid to meet some of those people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People are really,
mean.
out
there. No, it's always been great. Go ahead, Angie.
For me, like meeting people in person, I feel like I'm a lot more outspoken online because I'm pretty shy in real life. And so meeting people,
yeah,
I don't know. I just feel like they have an idea of who you are kind of, and you're not always exactly the same, if that makes sense.
Yes.
So that's the only thing. Maybe kind of awkward just because I'm kind of awkward, I think, in real life, that I might not be portrayed as much. I don't know. I don't know how I'm portrayed on social media, but
I think
I talk more online than I probably do in person.
Right. But it's interesting that, that's something you've always mentioned. I think that it does give people opportunities. And somebody mentioned that when they were going to come to Geo Woodstock, and they're like, I really don't feel comfortable going to an event of even greater than 4 people. It's like, I understand, but try to branch it, come to the event. And, I even told him, I said, if you don't feel comfortable around, 1,000 people, whatever, just come hang out at our booth. I mean, there's Jesse and I, and, maybe, our wives, and, once in a while somebody will come by and say something. So I was like, I gave people that, I want people to feel comfortable, if they're in a situation where they're not as comfortable.
I thought that was really interesting this year when I wrote about resolutions, and I was asking across platforms, what were some of people's resolutions or goals for the year? And a lot of people were attend my first event. And I was like,
wow.
What? Like, I'm shy, but I'm so glad I started going to events. Like, it was tough the first couple, but they're invaluable. I mean, and you meet so many great people. So that's a good goal. If you guys out there, you haven't gone to an event.
Absolutely. Make that a goal.
Push yourself. Yeah.
Events are probably at least in the top of the coolest parts of the game.
Yeah.
Geocache Ken is a good point. And I think for all of us, that's very true.
Yeah.
That you just be yourself, and this is, that's what we've talked about before, is that we don't put on voices. We don't, we are who we are, and we're just trying to provide some entertainment, some education, information, whatever people get out of Geocache Talk. Hopefully many different things.
Not me. I don't even geocache. I just pretend for the show.
That is
I've never been.
Really not true.
Yeah, go climb that mountain over there. I did it.
Yeah, exactly. No, Jesse's one that we don't fool. We're not. I mean, I guess if you're a podcaster and you don't geocache, are you really a geocaching podcaster person? I don't know. I mean, we go out and do. Now, how much we geocache kind of always varies. but I think we were showing that fake tattoo. That's funny.
Which, yes, it's marker.
Marker. Yeah.
That brings up a good point, though. Like how, especially for people that are really involved with the social media and geocaching aspect of it, that can definitely affect how you geocache too.
Mm-hmm. That was my question for you guys. Do you think social media, and having a show, does that affect you and how you geocache?
Ooh.
What do you think affects you more, having the podcast or having using social media, or does neither of it affect you at all?
I would say that's changed over time, right? Like when I first now, because I have one daughter that's in college that helps us a lot with social media, and I have one daughter that's just turning 13 right now who doesn't know as much about social media, but she loves photography. And then my wife, she's all over social media. She's good at it. So I'm the dummy in the room when it always comes to it. So that part doesn't affect me as much. I use social media at work, so I know all the platforms, but not what people like right on social media. The podcast, that's something we do regularly, but for Gary and I, we're always, it affects every aspect of geocaching for us, even though we don't show it on the show, because we want to make sure we're providing information, but not just a news show. We want to provide something that's valuable for people. So we get out, and other geolocation games too, right? Gary and I both are, the first time something comes out, we want to get the information out there if it's important, or try something brand new so we can relate to something on the show. So I would say the podcast for me, and I don't want to speak for Gary, affects how I geocache more, because even more than before, I want to have the full experience of everything in geocaching, so I can make sure to be able to share that information and be able to relate to whoever we communicate with or come in contact with for the podcast.
Yeah, to talk about geolocations, we were talking about the other day about Munzie, and that I don't really Munzie anymore, but we gave it a shot and we talked about it. I know people got upset. I was like, no reason to get upset. I mean, we did a couple shows about it, but people were like downright mad about it. It's like, well, if you have a problem with us talking about it's, and I guess I don't have the thickest of skin, because I've had people say, well, I tried Geocache Talk, but they're way too on whatever it happened to be. I think they were mad because, we wouldn't stay on a topic. And it's like, I think we stay on topic pretty well. I mean, we stay on topic sometimes more than some shows do. And
yeah, but you know what? That's a good.
Not for everyone.
It isn't for everyone, sure.
Yeah, it's like social media. Not everything is going to be for everyone. Somebody may get on Facebook and they can't find any good information they like. They may, we have a lot of fun with this podcast, and there's tons of people that we meet with regularly, but it may not be everybody's style. Just the same as like if we're running an Instagram channel, they may hate what we do, right? But that's the good thing. There's so many other things out there that there's so many choices. You should be open to all the different experiences, especially in a game like geocaching.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we really work hard at doing several things. One is obviously try to be somewhat entertaining and informative in the conversations. We tend to stay on a topic, which I'm surprised people mentioned that we didn't. We will work around a topic, but we'll hit it from different angles. But we don't get into weather. We don't get into politics. We don't get into religion. We don't get into. We really stay on focus, and we have some fun with it. I mean, we kind of goof around a little bit, but we really, the point of pretty much the people we have on is for they're experts. They know what they're talking about. They understand what they're doing. So there's reasons. Oh, thanks, UDAC. That's why I'm a patron.
Yeah.
That's yeah. So, that's very true. Yeah, we always look for new topics. We've got a lot of interesting stuff coming up, and I think that's the work we put into it. That's the thing that we really spend a lot of time and focus on, is getting the right information, and we're not doing the same kind of show every week, or we're not doing a topic that we just did a few months ago again. We're really, Jess and I work very hard to tackle topics, but move on to another topic and not really go back to talking about. We don't talk about GPSRs because we don't use them. I mean, I don't know. We're trying to give an example. We don't talk about waymarking for the 5th time because that's not what we're going to do. So give it a drink. That's right. If you, that's for another show. And so, we've got a lot of cool stuff, and this is kind of where, as we start to wrap up tonight, something that we're really excited about. We have some really cool shows coming up that I'll mention in a moment, but I'll get to that in a moment. Let's get to everybody else as we kind of start to wrap up, I guess. If everybody wants to, final thoughts, I guess, right?
Angie, you want to go first?
I think generally speaking, social media is a good thing. I think you have to find the right balance between, being in the moment and capturing the moment, if that's your thing. So, if you're going to use it, like Instagram, for example, I like to plan ahead and know, okay, I want to take one picture, or like I'm going to be passing this one place. I want to make sure I take a picture of that, and then put your phone away. Because I think geocaching, sometimes we have all these different platforms, all these different ways that we connect with people. And even though that's awesome, you have to find a way to like just really experience geocaching, because that is what we like. That is our hobby. So don't let social media bog you down. Just pick your favorites and use them.
Oh, that's good.
I think.
That's very good. Yeah, Udex said don't be afraid of social media.
Yeah. I was going to say almost the exact same thing as she just said.
Okay, you're done then. Moving on. Just kidding. Go ahead.
So I would say there's, even in this chat room right here, and there's tons more people that listen, of course, but there's some really talented people out there that are sharing some really good information on social media and on YouTube. We consider YouTube social media, but all the platforms out there. And if you're one of those people, that's great, because you're adding value, you're spreading good videos, you're showing people that there's good things, to it. But just like she said, don't let it become the reason. Don't let it become more important than geocaching is what I would say.
Yes.
Provide good content, but every once in a while, step away from it, come back, do it later. Because I think we sometimes get caught up in all the things and we forget about how much fun geocaching is. So don't let it overtake you, but use it for what it is, a positive part of it. And, like the person we mentioned earlier, don't get so excited or mad. And you see people really with some negative attitudes out there on social media, and I think they're missing the point of geocaching. It's supposed to be fun. So use it for the positive stuff. Don't let it overtake your geocaching, and don't get upset. It's a game. Have fun with it. So, and be nice to people. Be nice.
Support each other.
Geocacher, represent it well.
Yeah. My final thought on that subject as well is that focus on the ones that are positive and ignore the ones that are negative. I mean, that's really, seeing the different people in there, Cache the Line, Cache Canada, the Baker Six Clan, I can go on and on, Joshua, give them the focus and forget the ones on social media that are, we had some, Jesse and I talked about before, when we first started the show, we had a few people who sent a lot of negative comments about, the video or the audio was a little bit bad this week. It's like, well, we don't have we didn't spend $1 billion on equipment. So we're here to entertain. We're not here, we're not trying to, make it perfect. Our focus is on the content. And I think that there's people out there that want to look for negatives. They're always looking for something negative. Somebody posted a picture of Mingo. Oh my gosh, It's only been out there for 20 years almost. So, you know, there's not enough time in my life for the negative people. They can just move on. And if they don't like, it's, we love adding people to the show, but Jesse, I've always said, if you have a problem, that there's some other shows out there.
Yeah. We can't be the best thing for everybody.
Start your own.
Start
See
your
how
own.
it is.
Yeah.
Oh
on the
yeah.
other side.
They don't want to do that because then they'll be the ones that are
Yeah, just focus on the positive parts. That's the big thing with social media. There's a lot of great, and I know we went over a lot tonight. We went over a lot of great information.
Yeah.
Focus on the positives. Don't get caught up in
on
the negatives. Focus on the positive part.
Absolutely. And give love to those that do the positives. So
And send in more blog posts.
more blog posts.
Yeah, that's right.
Actually, not this month, right? Just right, Andy. Wait
You can take a break. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Coming up in the summer.
There you go. Yeah. Keep a steady stream of them. That's a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So this week on Wednesday, we will get another Geocaching with Kids, episode number 2. So we're excited about that. Baker Six Clan has put together the next monthly podcast for Geocaching with Kids. Really looking forward to that. Next Sunday, show 185, we've got on some friends from the north. We have a lot of friends up in the north, but we have on Dave and Karen. We'll be on from Cache Canada talking about earth caches. Exciting, right, Jesse? Earth caches.
I think he's frozen.
He's not excited anymore.
Frozen in shock. Excitement.
We're going to kick him out because he's not excited anymore. Is he back? No, he's not back. Oh, well. I kid him about it. He's actually, Jesse's one of the better people about, there he is. He's kind of, there you are. You're kind of back, sort of. Jesse's really good actually at providing how to create earth caches. So, but yeah, we're taking a different approach to it. Dave and Karen are going to give us some great stuff about their perspective on earth caches, which is different. I think it's interesting. I love hearing different people's perspective on, the different aspects of the show. This is gonna be great. Having he's back. There you are.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Oh boy.
Woo, what's going on?
Musical chairs.
Did I say earth caches? Because that was my computer just saying earth caches are terrible.
So we're going to talk about earth caches, earth cache fizzy grids. We're going to talk about the earth cache fizzy grid, which is kind of interesting. That's a different approach, right?
I have a question for them too about Montana. There's some first defines over there, earth caches that are really high DTs, and I was wondering if they'd seen those.
Oh wow!
They're like old, like 2012, I think, or something. So
have they never been found?
No, there's a couple that haven't. And I was like,
interesting.
Ooh,
maybe they'll head down.
Jesse's like, ooh.
We could all meet up and do them together.
Yeah,
tell me there's more.
There are some high DT earth caches out there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll be interesting. I mean, I've never, but there's a lot to talk about geocaching, and I look forward to their perspective on earth caches because I like watching their vlogs when they're talking about or showing earth caches because I think those really lend themselves to great vlogs. So we'll talk about that next week. So, and then Geocache Talk presents on 2/19. This is Jesse's time. We're going back and forth. So we're every other month. I'm doing the Geocache Talk presents. This will be his first one of the Geocache Talk presents. Mm-hmm. We'll be provided in a week from Wednesday, and then in 2 weeks on February 23rd, we had to reschedule, but he's back, ready to go talk about geocaching 2020. Brian Roth, president of geocaching.com, will be on. And we're going to grill him with massive questions. No, we're not. But we are going to try to pick his brain and try to get him to say things that he wants to keep secret. No, I don't. No, we're going to talk about geocaching in 2020 and just get his perspective and his take on what is going on at HQ and what, we probably won't get all his plans, but just kind of get perspective. And I think it's fun. Brian's always very good, to come on the show and to be candid and answer our questions and just talk about it. He's a true geocacher, not just a president of a company. So that's really neat. So looking forward to those. And then Gadget Talk. Ben mentioned that in 225, and in a few weeks we'll have Gadget Talk. Get out there and buy a few parts. They're not very expensive for this one. Jesse, you're in the process of getting the parts, right? For Gadget Talk.
It's not very hard. They're on Amazon. So you just the numbers and everything. I just type them in and put it in my cart, and now they show up. It's magic.
Right. He's not only the president, he's
also a geocacher.
So Gadget Talk, really, really excited. Had a lot of good feedback on Gadget Talk. I think adding now up to 4 podcasts of varying types, and 2 of them are live, 2 of them are not. I think it's kind of been a good choice, Jesse, that we've put those together. I think, don't you think?
Yeah, it is. And not only that, I'm excited about all the projects, but one of the things with the Gadget Talk that I want to do is it's kind of a pledge or a challenge to myself. I want to build every single one that he does and put every single one out.
Right.
So every gadget cache that we build on that gadget or creative cache, because you got some ones that, loose definition, right? But
right.
I'm going to try to build every single one of them and put them out in my area. So
cool.
I think that I know it's over a period of time, but that kind of inspires me for 2020 to put out some really creative caches.
Yeah, I agree.
Good idea.
Very cool. Well, Angie, thanks so much for coming on and giving us great feedback. And it's always great to have folks on from the network. And
Thanks for having me.
You're doing a fabulous job. And keep those Instagram, Facebook, so forth, because it's always fun to see where you're taking the kiddos geocaching and making the hubby come along too.
Yep, dragging them.
You're dragging them out of the Muggle world.
Yeah.
So that's great. All right. Thanks, everybody. And we'll be back in 1 second.
Folks, we hope you've enjoyed the show tonight, as well as our new format. Please email us your comment at geocachetalk@gmail.com. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. The show can be found on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Radio Public, or Spotify, as well as at the Geocache Talk website. Don't forget to click that subscribe button below and ring that bell notification so that you can see and hear the show on a weekly basis. And tell your friends about the show. Get them involved with us in the chat room. And until next week, don't just talk about geocaching, go geocaching.
Here we go. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.